In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. Imagine that, a future that's super black. Long as your skin brown, your superpowers intact. What would your powers be? Just hope it ain't super whack. Spatial manipulation, create a portal that's black. Maybe just super speed, time travel to run it back. Or cheat manipulation to keep my spirit intact. As I encounter evils the world face, demons the world makes, I'm needed the world at stake. Rest in peace to Chadwick, they killed all the Black Panthers. Told us white lies, I still marvel at black answers. Suits in DC, pray it lead to a civil war. It ain't no Justice League, what's the need to be civil for? Propelled like the juggernaut, it's clear ain't no stopping this. The world in grave danger, who can stop the apocalypse? They killed all the heroes, the new ones don't really care. But if you need me, put your fist up in the air. Yeah, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is super black. In the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Flying high, I emerge through the flames. Have no fear, I'm here, so stand back. Melanin activate, the name is Super Black.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blurred's Eye View. I'm your host, Chris Fury, the man on the wall. And guess what, everybody? Well, if you were late to the party, no need to worry because we got a new affiliate. Taco Noir is in the building. We are a new affiliate for Taco Noir. Hold on, let's give it up for Taco Noir. They're our favorite blind blurred box company. Blurred on, blurred creative, blurred centric. Go check it out. And if you go to taconoir.com and go to, and as you're checking out, hit Blurred's Eye View, you get a discount off whatever your purchase is. But please go check out a Taco Noir with your latest blurred creative gift box. They have different themes every month, and their latest theme is actually, believe a horror theme that's coming up. So you need to go check that out. I have been blessed myself to have a blurred box, and I have gotten every bit of use out of this thing, including the calendar for the year, which has several of our notable blurred cosplayers in this thing. So, but without any further ado, let's get the team in here. Let's go on. Lady Mandalore's in the building. What's going on, Lady Mandalore?
Oh, well, hello. I'm just popping bottles just to celebrate our new affiliation with our lovely.
There we go.
It's lovely.
A nice top of the morning to you, my dear.
Oh, am I choppy?
Are you? Wait.
Am
maybe
I?
just a little bit.
Let's fix this. We go fix this real quick. Hold on.
In the meantime, while you take care of that, I'm gonna bring the squad in. The cinematic assassin is back with a hat.
Back with the hat.
He feels
Baltimore ball cat bully. You know what I mean?
He is whole again. What's going on?
Nothing, man. Coming off this 10-hour drive, accidentally just took some melatonin, so it's gonna be a fun one.
See, if you drank wine, you could pace yourself. Then you pop a pill. You can't. You got no control.
Oh my God! Also, we have in our graces the Black Spartan. What's going on?
Young William.
Wine on the left, melatonin on the right. This is gonna be a fun night. That's all I'm gonna say.
When is it never a fun night?
Oh, this shows up better. Wait a minute. Hold on. All right, there we go.
So it's definitely a vibe when we all get together. So there's no telling with that one. We have a special guest tonight. Erin Brown is in the building. How you doing, Erin? She is a speculative fiction writer and horror writer. Maybe horror films in the future. Who knows? We're going to be talking about some of her short stories and her works that have been featured in fantasy magazines and the like. And I can't wait to get to this because who all knows my favorite writers are women of color because, the imagination just flows. It just flows. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the little news we got going on. So I don't know how you guys feel about Hellboy, but Mike Mignola, who is known for writing the Hellboy comics, here he is right here. He will be penning and writing the next Hellboy live action film, The Crooked Man, which is a very known story. Here's the comic on the left, and obviously the Hellboy we know of the live features from help me out, Will. What was his name again?
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman or the other one?
Yeah, Ron Perlman. Okay. And David Harbour, who we best know as the sheriff from Stranger Things, also on the bottom there on the bottom right, which, in my opinion, was not a bad film. That was my opinion. He looked good. He looked good. I mean, the vibe was there. I don't know. I think it was just, I don't know.
It was spotty. Like the writing or the the script was spotty or the way they edited things out was spotty. It was all right. It just wasn't cohesive.
I can definitely agree that there was definitely some editing issues, because there's a scene where he's fighting the troll, and he has the right hand of doom. Pay attention. There's a quick blink and you miss it scene where the right hand of doom becomes the left hand of doom, and then it switches back.
Damn.
Yeah.
Lazy editing.
Yeah.
Lazy editing is finest.
Other than that, I mean, visually, it was not a bad film. I didn't have a problem with David Harbour playing that role. You know.
So I'm assuming he's not back though.
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, and it's no fault of him. It's really not. He actually did a really good job taking over the role. Ron Perlman is up there in age, but if Harrison Ford can still play Indy, and I mean,
I need a cranky Indy though.
Should he be playing Indy?
I don't need the young, energetic Indy. I need the cranky old man Indy.
Yeah,
isn't that Harrison Ford anyway?
Y'all do know that we are not getting like most of that movie is going to be CGI, right? Like we all know that.
Yes, but I still want a cranky Indy.
You'll get him the first 10 minutes and like sporadically throughout when he's with his younger goddaughter or whatever it is. You'll get him for all like a half an hour.
Thank you, Will. I need to get off my lawn, Indy.
Get off my lawn, Indy.
I need that.
Hey, Shakira.
Hey.
I'm for it. Ron Perlman did a fantastic job playing Hellboy. David Harbour did a really good job playing Hellboy. They even sat down together to go over it. So, which you don't get a lot of when roles are being passed to another actor. You don't get a lot of that. So, but I'm open.
The problem is every time they give us a Hellboy movie, they lose faith immediately in it. Like we saw what happened with Ron Perlman's run. They gave us 2 movies, and then they said no hope for a third. Then you rebooted it with David Harbour, which again, great movie. I have no issue with it. They actually went a lot deeper, especially with the Blood Queen story with Hellboy, and they actually tried to give it a little bit more into the source material. No issue with it. But it's almost like there's no faith put behind these movies once they've been released. So it's kind of like you're getting our hopes up again for another Hellboy movie, but you're not giving us what we want. It's just tell a series of stories in movies, because both me and you, Chris, know there's plenty of stories they can do in Hellboy, and the Crooked Man's one of them. Blood Queen is one of them. They can even go into the Throne from Hell story, but it just they just have no faith. It's worse than DC. At least DC lied to me.
I don't think it's a faith thing. I think it's a money issue. Like you can get all these stories written down easily, but when you try to put it in literally into action, a lot of things just are either too expensive or it's just not gonna work. Plus timing.
What about you, Aaron? You've watched the Hellboy films, haven't you?
The original one, like forever ago. I guess I kind of went into it expecting it to be loud and messy and fun, and so I really wasn't let down at all. Like it was an amazing way to spend, that time, and I would do it again. But I wasn't super invested. I know that when you're really invested in these things, and the little things will kind of get to you worse. Whereas, if you're on the periphery of just I want to watch something loud and vulgar or whatever, just.
Which that's what that was. The first one was like that. All 3 of them were actually, loud, vulgar, and funny. So
you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get a PG Hellboy. Just not.
I think that last one was very close. It was very close to an R.
Yeah,
just because of just certain levels of gore. So I mean, it was darker. And here I'll pull the picture up again. We had a leaner Hellboy, but which was fine. None of this was wrong. Neither one of these actors played this character wrong.
No.
So
I like Ron Perlman's better than David Harbour's though.
That's not
because
David
it's a certain gruff. He has a
Because
certain gruff.
Ron Perlman just has that. He has. It's like certain voices can lead to certain characters, and Ron Perlman's voice, that man could play. Like, to me, he made Pacific Rim movie for me. So only because of his character alone. So that voice, that gruff, that presence, that works for him as Hellboy. Not to say that David's impression of Hellboy was maybe a younger Hellboy, like, still coming to his own, still trying to, have that identity issue. It ain't like he already set in his ways. It's like you can tell the difference in the actors.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when at least when I see Clancy Brown, I can't help but think of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, Joker. I could go on.
He hit Joker off though. You hear Joker and everything he says.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really hard to hear him do anything else. Phil Lamar is damn near everybody.
Right.
Cree Summer, damn near everybody. So you're right though. When I see Ron Perlman and to be honest with you, just seeing Hellboy, I didn't even see Ron Perlman. I just seen Hellboy. He kind of hit it on the nose.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of bratty, but an adultish thing, because he had some bratty moments.
Yeah.
Because essentially he's still a kid.
I feel like was he a bro with manners?
He was to a degree.
Yeah,
like he was a brat to his father. However, he was a bro with manners.
He was a bro with manners.
He was a bro with manners. He was a bro with manners. Even Abe was like, he would be like, hey, clean up your room.
Abe was like, after a while, like, look, I just gave him learn to work with the man. Work what you got.
I'll go back to the tank after this. And this just came over the line. Vision Quest will be reportedly start the shooting next year. What's Vision Quest? Vision Quest we'll be talking about our very own Vishon from Wakanda, because he's built from Wakanda. His body's vibranium. That's what it is. No, Vision. It'll be the story of Vision, and it's gonna star some Vision related characters. So if it's anything like the comics, where we get his another daughter, a son, possibly, dare I say, a wife? Who knows? Because he's trying to. As we last seen, Vishon gave blank Vision a wake-up call.
If that was not the straight, my brother, do you not know who you are being controlled by? That was an intellectual argument.
That line had no business being that deep.
Do you know the ship of Theseus? Of course I know.
Had no business being that deep. That was such an intense moment.
But it worked though. I mean, if you think, it did work to the point to where it gave war game vibes. It's like, how do you beat a supercomputer? Give it an impossible question.
And this is why I said this was Vishon. He hit him with a pimp line, then he opened his third eye. And
although the line for Vision, what is not drip but swag persevere. That line will ever stick with me.
It's a line.
It's foolishness.
It's a line. It works. The whole thing works. I'm for it. So it says they're going to start shooting next year, which means they're obviously working on a script right now. We already know that Disney Plus will be scaling back how many shows they release on Disney Plus, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It's no surprise. The only reason why we got that flood that we did was COVID kind of healed a lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
And so that kind of messed up the release schedule. So they're like, all right, we need to get this stuff out. It looked like it was working, and which was, people were very much into it, but they were like, okay, now we can scale it back because we also get Daredevil next year. I think it's next year.
2024.
2024. Yep, next year. Yeah.
Next year.
They had plans.
They hard on that.
Yeah, they have plans for Moon Knight. No
There-
word has gotten.
I think I know I saw something on TikTok. It was him and the director doing something on the. I think they were kind of
They're filming. They
Yeah,
were filming on location in Egypt. They were. It's like for all y'all are wondering if there's a season 3, and he pointed to the script as they're in Egypt, saying, "Well, does that answer your
Right.
question?"
yeah.
So Kira Moon's daddy will be coming soon.
She's this close. She is this close to having all 5 rings.
Moon Daddy, Rage Daddy, Aqua Poppy, Water Daddy.
You're missing a fire daddy over there, Airbender.
I
Yeah.
kind of think that goes to Keanu with this next movie. There was some fire sequences in there. Don't worry, they're showing up. They're showing up.
Rage Daddy.
All I gotta do
That's
is
yeah,
look. I'm very patient.
Keanu was Rage Daddy.
I thought Keanu was Rage Daddy.
Yeah.
Look at that, fiery. See, look, rage, fiery, same thing.
Oh, the variant, the variants.
Oh wait,
Yes,
no.
yes. Listen, look,
We've-
beggars can't be choosers, okay?
No,
I'm
wait.
just- I'm
She
just
has
here
the
to
5
accept all
rings.
the love.
She has the 5 rings.
rings.
She has Black Jesus. Time Daddy. She has all 5 rings.
I do. Oh my god. It's only February too. Look at me. Persevering. Thriving.
All praise Black Jesus.
Ooh,
Where's he at?
question. If Vision builds a wife, is Wanda get to show up and beat her ass? Like,
Ooh,
This is a very good question.
that is a decision. I don't know if Vision wants that. Babe, look.
was it
I
like
mean,
theoretically
well,
that wasn't her vision? So like,
Right. She threw the
but
whole
if what
thing.
he
she threw the
knows
whole
of
man
love
away.
is based off of Wanda, she's still
Yeah.
taking her spot. So
So here's
not gonna end
in
well.
in technicalities. He was considered dead.
Yeah.
Right.
When he came back, his mind was wiped. Out of her grief, she created her quote unquote husband.
But baby, I was dead. You have to understand something, baby. I was dead.
So he has no true understanding. He's relearning. He's relearning everything. So with no Wanda there to kind of help make paprikash and everything else and walk through walls instead of the door, there's that relationship isn't there. They don't have that same connection.
She don't
So
let
is
him
that
know.
his fault?
can
She
they
don't
make
let
her
him
like
no more. Mm-mm.
superpowered, super crazy ex-girlfriend?
Oh,
Like, so he's gonna die
reality
and then you out of this
warping
relationship?
ex-girlfriend?
Oh, really?
jeez.
That's not gonna end well. We see what happened. We see what happened to the Illuminati.
So you gonna die and come back and not find me? Oh, okay.
That how deep is your love for me? I would have came back for you. I crossed multi universes to find you.
But no.
You
Y'all are
can't come back
forgetting
and
that
find
he tried to kill her version of Vision anyway. So she really don't want nothing to do with him.
So wait. So the thing that we're asking for that the evil one did is the same thing that we think will come back for her when Vision finds somebody else.
I'm thinking they just need to have a talk.
That is a therapy set. That is a therapy session nobody wants to be a part of.
I think they just need to sit down and just have a nice discussion. Like, he's forgetting who he is. She had to create who he is, and now that version's gone. There's a lot of misunderstandings going on, and
tell Wanda how you feel. I've
There's
already
definitely-
told Wanda how I feel.
There's definitely like a series of one shots that are being like formulated right now, and Wong is the therapist.
Wong is
Everyone's-
the unwittingly known therapist. Is what Wong is.
I can see Wong now. Y'all do know
Why
as,
do y'all
as
keep
Sorcerer
coming to
Supreme
me?
of the Mystic Arts, I am not a therapist.
He says,
And yet you are on my couch.
you keep showing up here. I don't
Oh, and
have somewhere to be.
Wait,
I
what's
mean,
Wong's friend? I'm sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have a therapist I would nominate, but they're not from the Marvel universe. I'm gonna sound real silly when I say this. I think Charles Xavier could handle it.
He could.
He's probably the only one. Outside of Jean Grey, he's probably the only one.
He's probably the one that sits back and once they leave, he's like, "Oh my god, that is Gene, you and Scott ain't got nothing on these two.
Just imagine Patrick Scott. Vishon, would you like some Earl Grey? Some Earl Grey tea.
That will be a conversation. That's a conversation piece. That's a conversation. That's a Marvel one shot for real. I miss those.
The breakup.
The Marvel one shots. They were onto some Marvel one shots were something to watch.
But they do need to bring them back though. But since they're kind of spreading everything out, that would actually help out between series.
Yeah, I mean there were connections, but not really connections. They were just like, here's a story.
I still need Wong and that one girl.
Madison.
Yeah, Madison.
I need more Wong and Madison.
Wong and Madison's Day Out.
If that was not the.
I want them to do a review podcast. That's what I want from the two of them.
I'm here with Wongers on the Madison podcast, and we want to talk about what's going on with Scarlet Witch. Wong, you know her. Wongers.
No, the TV shows and the movies, not none of that mess. Review TV shows and stuff.
Oh dear God, because that would go. Wongers, what did you think about you? What did you know about Joe? I think Joe's a very disturbed individual.
I think he's kind of hot. I mean, look at what he's just doing.
I can honestly see Wong and Captain America in the room comparing notes of what shows to catch up on.
Oh, God.
Have you seen this? I'm like, no, I was told about it. Okay, here, right here. Take this.
This will be a messed up joke. What if Captain America found a love for Tyler Perry movies?
No.
I'm sorry, that just came to my head.
Next topic.
Absolutely not. Absolutely no. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Look, Aaron's just like, oh my God.
That made me so tired all of a sudden.
Oh.
Just imagine.
Cap has an affinity.
I'm just saying.
Tony walks in. He was like, really?
No, because it's gonna be damn Steve trying to sit down with Bucky. He was like, "So have you heard of Medea?" And that's when fucking Sam is gonna be in the background, just gonna slowly back out of the room. Like, I
can see Bucky's like, I've been around Wakandans, and that's Steve. What you stuck with of all the things? She's funny.
No, you can see, Buck and Sam are outside the room like, that's your boy. Like, no, that's your boy. I gave him a list, and that was not on the list. And he's like, go talk to him. No, you go talk. You've known him longer.
The messed up part? What if Zemo just comes out of nowhere? I think we're forgetting that Tyler Perry had such an influence on Black America. Sam comes out of nowhere.
He's wrong.
You are still out of line.
He's out of line.
He's out of line, but it's not wrong. Oh my God. So yeah, those definitely could be some moments. Now, Marvel, Kevin Feige, give us some one shots, please. Please. Like, how was that ride home with Hulk and his son? Like, how was that ride?
Ooh.
Awkward. I'm
Give
gonna say
us that.
awkward.
Oh,
give us Matt Murdock. What happened when he left Jennifer's place? I want to know.
Oh, he was strutting.
Like,
you can dang near play.
He was limping.
He
He wasn't strutting. That boy was limping.
No,
Ain't no way.
that man was struggling with pride. You could dang near play BG Staying Alive as he was walking.
These are things I want to know. I want to see Luis's recap. He was like, "So you've probably been wondering why I've been doing all this time."
Man,
No,
If
that's the one.
That's the one shot I want.
If that is
That's
not
what-
the recap,
You know what? That's what was missing from the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah. So it was just like one of those things where you say, "So you probably thought I got dusted 5 years ago." No, yeah, we did. No, I was hiding from the IRS. That's why
just the moment you hear those bongo drums playing, as soon as he starts talking, you immediately feel at peace. Like, go ahead, Luis.
Yes,
you've had time.
We've been waiting for this. We've been campaigning for Luis to come back and give us a recap. What have you been doing? So I was being chased by the IRS, right? And then all of a sudden the guys went to yeah, I can see it. One minute I was there, next minute they were at dust. I didn't know what to do. So, there was nobody to protect. So the business went out. Everything went out of business. And
with the reenactment playing in the background.
Yeah, the whole thing. The whole thing.
And him doing all the voices. Yes.
All of that. You see, like, Kevin, Feige, we're giving you gold right now. Like, this is what we can. These like, are one shots. Somewhere he's sitting there with his ball cap. He's probably turned it back like, these guys are good. Hold on.
Like, this guy named the Watcher came up and offered me a job. I was like, I already have a job.
Oh my God! Yes, now I need that. I need a Luis one shot that goes me half an hour at best. At best, 22 minutes. Give me a Luis one shot.
You see the Feige robot come out of nowhere. You have 5 minutes, Luis. I can do it in 3. 30 minutes later.
Oh my God! Yeah, I want some of that. So before we take our quick break, I want to give a shout out to the Law Society Entertainment. They have given us free play for their new single by Big Quick, Will, and Ladder Leaf. Is called Kyrie Irving. So after this, we're going to be talking to our guest Aaron Brown about Kyrie Irving.
Straight face, Will. You ain't gonna have me laughing looking at you. Straight face.
We're going to be talking to our guest Aaron Brown right after this. Until then, shout out to the gang over at Law Society Entertainment. They put out some great stuff, and here's their latest album or latest single.
Big roosh like it's bright and early. Soon as I hit the 9-5, I'm doing high speeds till the lights blurry. Soon as she spread them thick styles, I beat the pussy down so she scream mercy. Soon as touch the white again, birds bring green in like Larry. I'm a real storm, you a light. And I know that they plotting and hating and watching, cause I got these hundreds on me. And I know that this stuff around every corner when I'm out here running the streets. And I know that these jackets, they want to see me clap, I can't let them run up on me. That's why I can't live for my ski. That's why I can't live for my ski. Ballin' like I'm in the Drew League. Amateurs can't guard me, slipping, falling cause the defense too sweet. Shitting like a taller, dripping like a faucet, bitches screaming out who he. I don't see you when I do me. I was in the gym putting reps in, now I'm living life like a movie. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my jersey. Ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, Kyrie. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, when we slide on them windows, be tinted, these niggas be slipping, them switches be flipping, my niggas be drilling, y'all niggas be ratting, y'all stay in the district, my niggas is down doing time locked in prison. I'm climbing in church, trying to shine like a prison, but shit can get dark in this bitch, I new vision. I come from the hood where it's shiesty and wicked. I stay too attached with my gun like it's children. Life is so rough and the violence is up. You can get plucked just for running it up and talking that shit like you Sanford and Son. I just took a loss, man, enough is enough. I'm missing my dogs like they roll up a blunt. Exotic my strings, I don't do double cups. And fade off this J like I reef in the jump. Or fade when I spray let off 30 and clutch. Going to war is like going to work. My hood full of shootings, they going berserk. We catch you in traffic and blitz you like curse. For crossing the line, you get put in a hearse. I stay in my lane and away from you lanes. I just want the money, you reach for the fame. I just left the bank and them hunters is clean. The S on my chest for my clothes and my team. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my jersey. Ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, Kyrie. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, Kyrie. You see me, I'm a G from the bricks. Watch how you speak. I'm a dog. These hoes is fleas. They all on my dick trying to suck me clean. Check that shit off. It's the Philly and me. North side till the day I leave. JHB, my mama had me. Trenches, baby, I learned from the streets. Rhyming was all I had to eat. Fat little nigga, who dreams? Wanna be Mike? I heard about me, so I started out selling weed. Quarter P, half a P, moving birds like Mickey D's. Fuck some freaks, drop off keys. Man, that life was good to me. Never crossed my niggas, but some of them crossed me. Always stood up for what I believed and never talk for me. I'ma stand tall in these bucket seats, pulling champagne like Jay and Dupree, screaming money ain't a thing. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my jersey. Ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, Kyrie. Push start, push gas, then I'm swerve. Push start, push gas, then I break down that gas, then I serve. Break down that gas, then I only my gang on my jersey. Only my gang on my ball hard, no deal, Kyrie Irving. No deal, Kyrie Irving.
right, and there we go. What's going on? And that was Lost Society. That was Big Quick, Steel Wheel, and Ladder Leaf with Kyrie Irving. There we go. There we go. Right on. Savage is in the building. What's going on, Savage?
Hey.
What is happening? We got our special guest here tonight. Wait a minute. We got our special guest here tonight. Aaron Brown, speculative fiction, science fiction, and horror writer. This is such a mouthful that what she does. It really is. It's multi. That's what we said. Multi-talented Aaron Brown.
Love it.
And we pull it up right here. Put it up on the screen there. So let's get it started. You have several works already published that deal in speculative fiction, that deal in science fiction, that deal in horror. Which one of those are your favorite genres?
Honestly, to read, I would say fantasy, but to write, I would say horror. Horror is a lot of fun to write.
So tell us about what is it? So what's the draw from horror film or horror writing?
Well, I try to write with a lens to kind of how do I put this? The uncommon places where you'll find fear. And then I play those things up. And I guess if I were to give an example of what it is that I'm like shooting for here, I know there's no spoilers here, so everybody's already, watched Get Out.
Yes.
That
yes.
So like if you're envisioning that moment near the end where dude just about got away and then that cop car pulled up.
Yeah.
And half the audience was like, oh, thank goodness. And the other half the audience was like, oh God, no. Right?
I like imagine what that other half that was saying, oh God, was. I
don't have to explain what it means, but like I like to deal with those things, the what I call the mundane horror, the stuff that is really scary, but it's just a part of everyday life that not everybody knows about. Okay. And then trying to repackage it in a way that everyone can understand, it gets conversations going.
Everything you just explained just right there gave me Jordan Peele vibes.
If he ever starts a fund for shorts, please let me know because I'm ready.
Like, because that's kind of his niche, is to touch on horror that otherwise, like, we know what that was like, in Get Out. We knew what that feeling was like. Me and my wife were like,
yeah.
Like, on the edge of your seat. He got out, and then the cop lights, and we're just like, fuck.
It was a wrap. I was like, I threw something at the screen. I was like, why? There was no hope
on this ride for what?
All my hope left. But
just
not everybody felt that way. So it started conversations like, wait, why now? Like, this whole movie's been scary. Why is this the moment? It starts conversations, and I like to start those conversations. That's what I write for.
How long have you been writing?
All together, since before I could talk. Like my dad used to show me the Sunday comics before I could read and point out the peanuts and ask me to tell him what was happening, and I would have a whole story set up. So I have always been a storyteller.
Her imagination has always been running. So you said horror is your favorite thing to write. You said science fiction is your favorite to read, correct?
Fantasy is my favorite.
Fantasy. So let's touch on fantasy a little bit. Now, you, like myself, are a fellow Fady. For those who don't know out there, we're part of the Black Fae community. Shout out to Queen Jasmine LaFleur and Lord Carlos, Lord Strife. Carlos out there, he's doing the thing. He's handling business, and we go to war for our queen. We literally go to war for the queen. What is it about fantasy? What do you like seeing? What do you like to see more in fantasy?
What would I like to see more in fantasy? What I would like to see more is I'd like to see more time spent on folklore. I want to see, you know, I want to see a reimagining of John Henry. Like, I want to see things that are tied back to the original sources where they got all of the fairy tales in the first place, because these were collected from all over the world, and then they were very much streamlined to look and feel a specific kind of way. But if you bring them back to those places, you can take them in so many more directions and give them so much more layered meaning. And of course, there's always, you know, we always need more representation. We're fighting for representation right now.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
I'd like to see folklore, American folklore, and African folklore really explored. That's what I would like to see.
That makes my heart proud to hear you say that, because that's something you don't see enough of. For those who read several fairy tales coming up, and you get the, I guess, the brighter side of the story, you know, when in reality, you know, Hansel and Gretel's leaving breadcrumbs or whatever, and the kids were getting eaten. All right, kids were getting eaten by a witch, and it's like they kind of glaze over some of that stuff. You know, a lot of these fantasy stories or these folklore stories we've received from all over the world, there is a level of, once again, fear that's embedded into these, and you know, as we know, when it's subtle, it's sort of like that Project The Whisper. Like when I give you or The Secret, when I say a secret to you, and then you pass it to Kira, and then Kira passes it to Will, and Will blasts the black spark. That secret changes, and it's the same thing with these fantasy stories. It over time, it takes on different meanings. It's changed up. Words have different meanings. So, what is your dream project in a horror film or in a horror project?
Dream horror project. Oh man, I don't have an answer for that, honestly. I have a dream fantasy project, but I don't have a dream horror project.
What's the dream fantasy project?
I've been working on a 5-book series.
Ooh.
That is what I mean, and I'm putting it out there, like, you know, trying to manifest this, but like I want Black Tolkien style. Like, I have maps and I have cookbooks. I have written national anthems for the different lands in this place. Like, I have been working on the world building for almost a decade. And I have 2 of the books and second drafts done, but I still have more, you know, more work to do on it. But
Kira has a little
I want.
No, you done. No, just put it out. No, just put it out. Well, or at least, ooh, could I press you to accidentally on purpose release one of the national anthems?
Accidentally on purpose.
Maybe by accident. Maybe just to stir up a little interest. I'm just saying, I don't know what your plans are, but you know, I need a fix.
Okay.
No, and I can agree. I agree with her on it, because what we've recently gotten when it comes to representation in fantasy and in horror has been a lot more. It can be more frequent, but it's starting to bubble up, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You know, we've seen it in Rings of Power. We've seen it with Lovecraft Country. We've seen it with Watchmen. We've seen it with all these variations of shows where we're leads, where we're focal points, where we're the linchpin, I guess, in a story. And it makes, number one, I want Kira's glass. I want to. It caught me off guard, and I'm like, "Wait, that's my glass. That's a horn. I want it."
I had to change it up because of the theme this evening.
Yes, I love the theme, but it's something that we do. We're thirsty for.
Yes, literally.
Yes. You know, and I'm working on it. Everything that I put out, I have an eye for it being about the Black experience, but without the Black experience being the plot.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And I'll use an example, the one that you were talking about, with the organic metal,
Oh yes.
skyscrapers that twist to the sun. So the main characters of that story are Black women in STEM. It's a single Black mother and her little daughter. That she's a machinist. They have a traditional African American naming traditions. Little girl's name is Denisha. Single mother and her daughter. The mother clearly struggling to keep up with gentle parenting style, which is clearly new to her. None of this has anything to do with the plot. It's just the reality. There's no broken home. There's no money problems. Race doesn't come up at all. So it's just a scientist and their child finding a new material that the kids think is awesome and the adults are more worried about. The fact that it's Black women in STEM is just, it's just there. Because I wanted more stories about Black women in STEM. So I wrote one.
What you wish for, you put out into the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was something I was going to explain or talk to you about, because yes, we do like to see ourselves in these leads and these different type of roles other than being the quote unquote typical roles that they would give us. And to the point where race does not play the factor anymore, is just happens to be, it's the way of life. You just explained the mother and the daughter aspect. It was like, it just so happens, that's not the focal point. And we do need to have that. We're trying to get to the discussion where we're in the room. Like you notice us in the room. Now, after that, it becomes, we're just in the room. We have a story. We're in the room. We just happen to be in the room.
And isn't that part of a global fantasy? Isn't that that is the fantasy?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the push for like Afrofuturism is a future with, African diaspora people in it, because for the longest time we were very, very scarce when anyone envisioned the future. So we're just trying to change that up a little bit.
Yeah. I will reset the clock. Because when she mentions that, I think of Stranger Days, that starred Ray Fiennes and Angela Bassett. And you watching this film, you don't see this futuristic dystopian world with a Black woman. You just see a woman who's playing a role in this film, whose character is just in this film. So that I get that, we're not changing. We're not pandering. We don't want the pander just because we're when we talk inclusion, we don't say, hey, change the race of this character. Yeah, for what reason? We just need to be in the story. Once the story is there, you forget that this person is whatever their race is. You just see the story. And you're putting something like that on front stage. Spartan, I see Spartan got a look on his face.
I'm still on the horror part. I'm listening. I completely agree with her. I'm sorry, her as if she's not here. With Erin's direction, as far as how she wants to approach everything. So I got no other questions, except I do have to ask this, just because as I'm listening to a very multi-talented published author, not author, author. What has been your favorite, just so far, what has been your favorite story to write up to now?
Favorite story to write? It's got to be A Brief and Hideous Scrawl. That was so much fun to write.
A brief and I'm listening.
Brief and Hideous Scrawl, and the subtext was rich in that one. That was fun. So basically, the story is, so the movie Alien, what the alien looked like?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine that animal spoke like Niles from Frasier and had his education and went out to the country to go pester some bumpkins. That's my story. I wanted to write a story about a really smart, sophisticated man-eating monster that was really thinking he was the biggest, baddest ever, but was just bored in the city. So he went to the country to go, on like an artist jaunt, just to kind of refresh his spirit and eat some people out there. And, but of course, country people are a little bit more serious. So he has to be on his guard. He's like, they know what pitchforks are for out here.
Mm-hmm.
But he thinks that they're tolerating him eating a couple of them because they think he's so big and bad, but he doesn't realize he's not the biggest, baddest monster in the country. And then he meets the real one and leaves because he can't handle it.
This is such a Twilight Zone type thing.
I dig this.
It was meant to be very Lovecraft adjacent. Like the monster was a monster you could see, you could talk, he was talking, you could relate. He was kind of adorable. Like you liked this monster. But the big thing was Lovecraft horror that he ended up encountering. But there was subtext in this story that it was a conversation about, and this is the P word, I'm going to say it, privilege. Yeah, this was a very strong, very cultured, very spoiled being that goes out and encounters generational trauma, can't relate, and just leaves. So like the people that he out in the country that he's having, he doesn't understand why they're not reacting to him out of fear. It's because they've been so beaten down by what's been happening to them because they live in the area with this Lovecraft horror. So when he's trying to figure out why they're not treating him the way he wants to be, then he meets Lovecraft horror. Then he leaves. He's like, nope, and goes right back to the city to eat people who eat truffles and wine and, listen to opera and be a culture because he's not stuck in that place. And he just doesn't get it.
Message in this.
Cinematic Assassin has a look on his face.
Don't get me wrong. I love the premise of the story. And I love stories that have they have that. I don't mean to label as Jordan Peele because he's not the first person to do this, but it's always that hidden message or subtext or subtitle that's within the story that we're all just like, we all get it. Like for the ones that read, it's like, we all get it. Yeah. For those that don't get it, they'll be like, but it's not for you. It's not for you to.
That means you're the opposite party. That's right.
I love that. I'm about to that part where you explain that. That's always like, oh, I see how you. I like that. That was my only question.
But I write these things to start conversations, and this is not the race is never mentioned here. There's no gender roles or anything like that. There's not even really a discussion of wealth. It is just pure fantasy area. Where there happens to be generational trauma and privilege. So who's going to get offended having a conversation about this piece? And this is what I write for. I want to start conversations where we can have the difficult conversations without anybody's traumas being triggered. And when I say anybody on either side of this, if you're the privileged party or the generational, trauma party, like it's a pure theoretical experience, not you or your ancestors, and then people can start to talk about these things. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
It's definitely a conversation starter, but I'm petty, so I'm immediately petty with it. So that's the reason why you have a very peaceful process to it. Me, I'm just gonna be like, well, let me tell you why you don't feel this way.
But I have those stories too. I have those stories too.
Man,
the first one I published was about a woman who does this ritual to deal with a Black woman who does this ritual to deal with people putting their hands on her. They touch the hand and the hair and the skin and stuff. She's in a cafe full of tourists, and they surround her and begin to touch her, and she goes and basically just disassociates and just has this ritual where she thinks about all the people that will be a little bit less afraid of us once they see how she didn't react in a scary manner. So while this is happening to her, she's thinking about a little girl on a playground whose friends are going to play with her and not be scared, or a black man walking around a city who he's lost, who he's not so afraid to ask for directions because no one's going to be afraid of his approach. She's thinking about these things and saying, if I hold still, those people will be safe. So I write the real blunt stuff too, but you know, not all of them.
These are conversation starters. Like there's so much to unpack just in the just a couple of story backgrounds you just given us just from what you did.
I got to get the list of your of the short stories that you have, because my woke office is celebrating Black History Month by reading books that I already have. And I don't think A, that they're reading it, and B, that they get it when they do read it. I need your books. I need them to
Yes.
get a little bit deeper than the surface stuff.
I feel that
I have them all on my author website. The links to the free ones and just where to get the other ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that up. I'm gonna put that up because man,
I feel Kira Slytherin coming out at workworkplace. It's like,
oh, baby,
that's not Slytherin style. That's just us. That's
24/7. I ain't got to turn up for nothing. That's just me.
No,
that just sounds like Ravenclaw though. That's a little bit more Ravenclaw.
No, I'm going to tell you about yourself. You need to read this book because y'all are lying to yourselves and trying to make yourselves feel better. Here's a book. That's Slytherin.
That's Slytherin, yeah.
That's Slytherin.
Just in case
Ravenclaw is subtle. Slytherin just gets in your face.
I'm not going to read it because I already know. I'm going to let y'all figure it out right here.
Oh my God, Cinematic Assassin, you had something you wanted to ask her?
No, I really appreciate you sitting down and sort of breaking down the subtext, because a lot of times I feel like authors or creators put work out and don't really directly say like what was influencing the work, and then sometimes certain people take said work and like, oh, so what they're really saying is blah 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 blah. I'm like, shut up, you're reaching. So it was dope hearing you actually confirm what was going on in your story. I really like that. But I did want to ask, back to horror really quickly, what is your favorite horror film? And if you had the opportunity to recreate a horror film, either it was great, a classic, or something, but you want to put your own touches on it, or you felt like it had amazing potential, but the execution wasn't there, what would you do?
Okay, so full disclosure, I don't watch a ton of horror movies because
Consider yourself
I have real vivid dreams. I have always had real vivid dreams. So I don't watch it once. I watch it 70 times over the next 2 weeks while I'm trying to sleep. And I can't function. So I can't, I can read it, but I can't really watch it. I would say the last scary movie I watched, wow, I can't even remember. You know, Monster House creeped me out. Like when it comes to the movies, I'm a baby. When it comes to the movies, I'm a baby.
Monster House had a certain vibe to it that was just like, there's no.
It was good.
It was very.
I mean, I like the creepy stuff, but let me see.
The old man was trying to save your ass the whole time.
Right.
There's another writer who's written a story, and I would want to see it made into a movie. Maybe it kind of already had, I don't know. But I don't want to cuss on here, so I'm going to say...
Feel free. It's an open floor.
The name of... Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, girl.
The name of the story, and I mean, I don't even have to say anything after I say this. The name of the story is Man, Fuck This House. I want to see that made. I will be, I don't care. I'll go ahead and take it. Because you already know the vibe. Just like
everything.
And it's on Amazon.
That's a shut up and take my money.
That's
right?
it.
If they did like a spin where they, I don't know if you, I'm older than I look. The movie called The Money Pit
With Tom
Yes.
with
Hanks?
Tom Hanks, and did something with that and merged it with the I could see that a little bit, not crazy.
That is I'm sorry, The Money Pit's funny. That's a funny movie.
It is.
That's a funny movie.
That is funny.
But then again, Tom Hanks is an affable character. He's like Paul Rudd. He's the Paul Rudd of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, isn't Paul Rudd a Paul Rudd of the 80s?
I was about to say Paul Rudd is the Paul Rudd of the 80s.
Like, because he doesn't age neither. I'm like,
Paul Rudd does not age at all.
Wait, isn't Paul Rudd the 90s?
He's the 90s. Yeah, he's the 90s. He's more of the 90s.
Yeah.
He just grows his hair.
Yeah.
I'm older. No, you're not.
I don't know what that
He's
means.
got stubble now.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
it's
stubble.
a
He's like,
good
look, I've aged. I'm like,
I don't know what that man's skincare routine is, but him and Pharrell was on the same line for a while.
No, Pharrell's a vampire. That's
yeah.
Pharrell just stopped getting that 2%. That's all that was.
So yeah, I could a movie called Man Fuck This House Gets My Money.
Ready.
It's just
Is
we're
it a
going to
book?
see
A monkey paw production.
a monkey paw production.
Man, F this house.
Mhm.
I found something on Amazon. Is it by Brian Asman? Okay.
No.
Okay, cool. When the moment you said I had to go look for it, that's all I was like. With a title like that, I have to see if it's a book, I have to read it.
Yeah, it seems to. It just seems to be one of them things you just have to kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, good choice on not watching many horror films because there really hasn't been that many great horror films lately. It just hasn't.
I want to say like at least the last, and this is being very kind, the last 10 years.
At best, I was thinking the same number.
Yeah, at least 10 years.
But weirdly, I grew up watching them often.
Yeah.
When I was too young
Yeah.
to understand what was happening. So like I was constantly watching like Poltergeist and
Yo, that's the feel good family fun movie. Of that's a good old time.
That tree and that damn clown.
You remember Toys, right? The opening scene is the little toy phone starts ringing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There was.
We were spoiled in the 80s and 90s though. You had the gimmicky ones. You had Puppet Master, you had Freddy, you had Jason, you had
Castle,
Michael Myers, you had you had what was another? You had the off-wall ones too.
Lawnmower Man.
Lawnmower Man was another one.
Yo,
Lawnmower Man could have been solved by just giving the man a hug. That's all I'm saying.
That's all it was.
Just need a hug. That's all he wanted.
Like, why y'all do this, man? Like, he ain't harmed nobody.
I can tell you the last creepy show that I watched that really got to me was Over the Garden Wall. I don't think it was meant to be a horror.
Why is that familiar?
But it was a show. It was what was it on? Was it on Hulu? I can't remember. It was a show. It was like these two little boys. One had a red cone hat, and one had a little teapot on his head, and they're wandering around this forest lost. And it was this fantasy forest, but it was like Tim Burton's weird cousin style fantasy forest. Like the colors were off, the music was off. It was all just creepy, just dread.
Oh no, it was on the Cartoon Network.
Yes, that's why I remembered it now. I was like, it was on Cartoon Network.
It was
my god,
creepy.
Yeah,
and I mean that in the best possible way. I was hooked. Like I could not believe. I was so unnerved, but I couldn't stop watching.
The gingerbread men are especially fucking creepy. Pardon me. What the fuck is this? They're not even gingerbread. What is? They're straw men. Nope.
Have you? Well, I mean, you haven't seen the Autumn Fest guys. Like those guys.
That's what it is. This little straw. The men that look like straw.
No, the one with the pumpkin heads and digging graves in the man.
I don't know.
Kids show somehow.
Oh,
I can't show it.
Okay,
but yeah, no, I see. That's we're talking about the same thing. They got like straw feet, some of them, but they have the pumpkin.
Oh, when you have Tim Curry and that's one of the voices. Yeah, that kind of does it. Yeah,
it's really funny too, but it's really creepy. Yeah,
Geek by Heart's in the building. What's going on?
Hey, lady.
She's our horror writer for blurredeyeview.org. So yeah. She will tell you that like this movie is not it. This is not it. But it is. It's very hard to find a well-told horror film. For a while there, it was horror. It was torture porn. For quite a while, it was torture porn. Like, let's see how far we can get and push the narrative. Let's just how much gore. How much gore can we get away with?
That's pretty much what it was. It was either gore. It was either gory, dismemberment. It wasn't up until you had. It was a movie before Saw, before it was really narrative driven. It wasn't the fact of how far they would push a human. It was the fact of how from word standpoint, they were pushing the human psyche, the human condition. Mm-hmm. So it's just like what you said, Aaron, like your style of writing, you take the most uncommon places. Uncommon being that a lot of writers don't really go into the areas that you would go into and still tell a story. So that's really new territory, if you will, if I put it that way. Just because, I mean, we see that now with a lot of the movies that we know near and dear become classics. I said we mentioned Get Out, we mentioned Us, we mentioned all these movies that still resonate with us because there's a message there from an uncommon place. But it's still horror, it's still scary, it still gets us. But you notice that there isn't the gory factor. There's not a lot of bleeding, beheading, dismemberment, all that crap. We are visually and literally horrified by that versus the actual visual, if it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
No,
hey, Dramo.
It's one of the reasons why we've never run out of psychopath driven stories, because they don't actually have to physically hurt. You don't need limbs flying around for a psychopath or someone with a narcissistic personality disorder style villain to just mess your entire universe up. Like, they don't have to touch you. And so that stays scary because you never know what they can do. So those are some of my favorite types of stories, my horror stories.
But then you get those weird ones like that one about the button with the box on it? I forgot the name of that one.
Oh, the box. You mean the box?
Yeah, the box. There we go.
Yeah, the box.
That's always one of those thought-provoking questions. Like, would you press it? Would you press it if that box was in front of you? Would you let it pass you by? And that's a different type of horror because it's always one of those. What would you do with that situation? Like finding $1 on the ground outside of a bank. What would you do? Would you turn it in? Would you keep it? And that goes to its whole other. What was that look for, Kira?
I'm picking up that goddamn $1. What's the problem? They can make
not gonna lie, I'm like, it's $1.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just using that as a metaphor. You get $1 or a bag of money, and they'll always say, "Well, it's outside the bank," or "Well, it's not your money, it's stealing," and we can go. That takes on a life of its own. Place that inside of a movie that's dealing in something of not really horror, but it becomes horror just because we see how bad the human condition would really go if that was put there.
When you mention the box, because I've seen the movie, I've seen the original short that it came from, and that idea of it. Speaking of that, look at that, Queen Jasmine's in the building.
Hey. Long may she reign.
Yes, but they have that theory of you push this button, you get your wish or $1 million, whatever it is you're looking for. But someone random dies. Well, you're thinking, oh, it would just be a random person. And then here it is. It's like, maybe it's not that much of a random person. Maybe it's closer than you think.
And that's the scary part. When you realize that someone will start rationalizing, what are the chances somebody that'll die that I know? Or, it's a one, there's 6 billion people on the planet. Who's going to know? We can lose one. That scary part about that whole movie was the fact that as humans, as everybody got approached with it, you literally see the thought process go from, no, I can't do that. I don't want to end up in somebody's life, to someone sitting there going, all right, that's it. That's
all right, get out the way. I got things to do.
That's the horror part of it. It's like the horror in itself, and I thought that was a brilliant piece of writing, was that the horror in itself was that we as a human race are capable of depravity, dangerous, and just overall genocidal positions if that was offered to us. So that right there is
That's why aliens don't really mess with people in the hood. because they're just like, you know what, they've dealt with enough. Let's mess with the ones we know they can't really deal with.
Yeah, true. Because I mean, you don't really. I mean, seeing a xenomorph in the hood is like we won't be affected by that.
No, we're just like, I was
Like, are you
wondering when that
lost?
was going to happen. All right. We were waiting on you, you know, everything else, you know, it wasn't on my bingo card, but it was definitely there.
It's like if a predator showed up at a family reunion, we're going to be like, you lost?
Yeah. No, I know you're not. I know you're not coming. You didn't come here to start no mess. You can get yourself a plate and leave. But please keep it moving for your safety and the rest.
Yeah,
of
we're telling you because you know I know what you're about, but yeah, not. Yeah,
I mean, half my family would just start clowning each other, like, who brought this? Who brought their boyfriend? Like, it would just become like jokes.
But just like,
we've been calling the mothership, right?
But it would be so. But the fact that we treat it so normal is that's where I see where, like I said, where you're getting from with your stories is that it's normal to us because we honestly have been subjugated to worse. So when some I'm sorry, go ahead.
We live in fear. We are in a constant baseline. Like, we are always afraid. Like, and it comes like not like we're all like looking over a shoulder, but we're always nervous when somebody calls too late at night. We're always nervous who's driving up the block. We're always nervous that our voice is too loud in this space, and there's nobody here that we recognize. Like, that's not everybody's experience. And it's one of the things that I think it needs to be more of a conversation. People don't understand just how much policing that we do until they have to, which is why, and you see it in like Star Trek type movies where you'll have the one person in hiding, like trying to fit into this space. And like, it's a terrifying idea for so many people. That's just a Tuesday for us, like trying to fit in this alien world where we have to speak different and eat different food and come across a certain way, or we're going to be thrown in some dungeon. Like that's living, and so it changes the way we have to write ourselves, and it makes it harder sometimes for us to market our experience because that's not the dominant American or Western experience. The institutions put here to protect them are put there are at war with us.
Yeah, I think that's why shows like Twilight Zone ring so true. It's the human behavior, it's the human psyche. Even watching the version that Jordan Peele did, like one of the episodes was, I think it was called Rewind with S9E117, and it's dealing with just her and her son. And me and my wife are watching this, and we're just like, we're gripping because that feeling of fear of not doing anything wrong, but somehow still being a target. And no matter what you're doing, you're still a target, and it's that human condition that does like in any form, in any space, that is a very scary thing. And I think that's why shows like Twilight Zone are always consistently like, hey, there's another story that can be told, whether it was something from its original run and they redid it, or they just ran the original. What was the one where the aliens it was the aliens that ran a whole human experiment about just saying, hey, somebody came into the town and they thought it was this pedophile or something creepy in this so suburban town. Here it was like, see, this is how they act. And no one did anything wrong. Like the person that was introduced wasn't even a criminal. They were just a normal human being, and they were just fear.
Do you guys remember? I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but that Will Smith movie that was the zombie one.
Oh,
I Am
Legend.
I Am Legend. So you guys know that the movie did not hold true to the book, right?
Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, but I started looking into that, and it turns out that was some kind of like a pseudo commentary on evolution and the terror of evolution. And so it's just like, we decided we were the end game as humans, right? But we weren't. So the Will character ends up being the like the ancient monster under the bed of the new world.
Yeah.
You know, but we're only seeing it from the monster's point of view. Yeah. And that really hit me, just like what that fear of the unknown, what that fear of difference, like elevated to that point, made it a whole lot harder to hide. You know?
That's why when we were coming up, you used to have your uncle or your grandmother sitting on the porch looking over their glasses like, don't take your behind over there, boy. Don't leave.
Don't go over there.
Don't go over there.
Don't go over there.
They sit up there looking over their glasses. Don't go over there. And they just as calm, just rocking back. Don't go over there. You know?
It was always don't you go that side. Don't you go that side of the fence when the sun go down. You know what?
It's human condition. I think that's why stuff like with the movies and that Jordan Peele himself, he comes up a lot for this conversation and these type of conversations. This is why it's a well-told story, because we can identify with that fear, you know, and thankfully in the end game, it becomes we're also the hero. It's like, you know, so it becomes that thing where just like, we know what that feels like. We know what that fear looks like. We know what that anxiety feeling is, and seeing that end of the spectrum, and then seeing the end of the spectrum dealing with science fiction and fantasy, and having us in those positions where we may have been the ones that caused the evolution to move forward, that caused the human experience to move in a positive forward fashion. I've seen and read several fantasy and sci-fi novels, movies, where you see us in these spaces, and we're seeing them more now, especially by black female writers. And we're seeing us more now. Shout out to Akilah Cooper, writer of Megan, because you didn't see any of us messing with a 4-foot doll.
No,
not the fuck at all.
That was a movie that was written. That was a movie that was written for black people, to black people to sit there and go, someone gets us.
That doll ain't did nothing else. We be fine. Going down the street, little girl.
That was that whole thing going on, Megan. Going on.
we ain't got nothing to do with that. What's going on, still, Will? We ain't got nothing to do with that little girl. Leave that out of here.
Somebody go get her out of here before she causes some trouble. Go ahead. Go on now, girl.
Get your dog. Get your dog.
Have you seen Megan? You should keep up with your own children.
That's why you didn't see us coming out when that woman was out there looking for that dog.
Nope.
They done told her about that dog. I'm talking. So, what is next for you on the sci-fi and fantasy side?
What is next?
I know that world you're building.
Oh, that's gonna take a while. I gotta get it right. I have to get it right.
You said that was
do like Misha Barton. Go on Twitter and just drop little teases.
Yeah, because you said that was JR. You said that was Tolkien style. That was like, I have to hear that.
I just want the anthem. That's
there's
all I
anthems for all the different worlds. There's also culinary traditions in all the different areas.
I want it.
You're going full on George R. Martin.
You are not making my case to leave you alone.
I don't. You know, honestly, this was my plan, because people don't like to invest in authors anymore unless they already prove they have an audience. So I was starting from the ground up. I was like, let me sell some short stories so I can prove I can sell those. Then I'm going to sell some novellas so I can prove that I sell those. So then when this series is almost ready, I already have people buying my things, and I can make a case that I'm someone to invest in. So I'm on step 2. I'm on the novellas now.
Okay. And I'm just trying to make sure you got juice. You trying to make sure you got juice for your film.
I'm working.
We'll make sure you got the juice.
I have stuff coming out in the Deadlands. I think in April. I have something coming out in May, like that I've already sold. They're just being scheduled.
Cool.
But I'm working on the novellas now. But the novellas are they're about African diaspora stories. So, but with the magic dialed up a little bit. So, about the drowned towns, the drowned black towns that we have out here. So what if a drowned town didn't drown? What was protecting it? And what do we owe it? Like that stuff like that is what I'm working on, because there's so much magic. There's so much lore in Black American storyline, but we keep looking for Africa, or we keep looking for, the warriors on, what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a whole lot of, there's so much lore with how we got from drug off the ships to here. And I really want to make that our fantasy, like how the Celtics have their kinds of fairies and whatever. I want us to explore our own magical folklore traditions. So that is what I'm working on. I'm starting with 2 novellas, and then I'm jumping into that series.
That is
Queen Jasmine
brilliant.
speaks the words spoken like a true queen. Queen Jasmine says, "You're brilliant." Yes, you are. And she says, "Community dollars mean so much. Please buy." This is also true, because if you are on this show or have watched this show, that is what we push.
Pass the collection plate.
Pass the
collection plate.
We don't need the Mercedes or the gold chains. We're not that type of church. But we do like to see our POC creatives pushed out there in the forefront, and seen, because the works that not just yourselves, but that others we've had on put out. Let's just say this: we have yet to be disappointed.
Right.
That we have yet to be disappointed. We've loved everything that's come across our laps.
It feels like going home.
But if that's the process you're going with, I cannot wait for the uncomfortable conversations to occur. Because I will be sitting there just waiting on Monday morning when the meetings come up. So who watched it?
See, Black Spartan will be the one that's sitting in the room with Roland Martin, and they just both looking at each other like, we all sitting in the room together doing like this.
I would never feel so empowered to sit there and start it, just to see the reactions. But at the same time,
and Jane Elliott will be the one that will be allowed to come into the party.
But I get it, though. I mean, that's why I say it's so brilliant how you're doing it, because you are. I mean, for one, you are 100% right. We do need to have our folklore, our legends, we need to have that and claim it as our own. But I love the fact you are instituting what I like to call a little bit of realism, because you mentioned the drowned towns, and I'm like, that is so brilliant on how you're introducing that. And at the same time, you're giving a what if scenario. What if that drowned town didn't drown?
And
already you can work with that.
Just from that alone, and I'm saying this, Kira, you might be backing me up on this one.
Probably.
She's giving me Misha Barton vibes.
But Boo, I've been there like what time is it? I was there an hour
Misha
ago.
Green. I'm sorry, not Misha Barton. Misha Green.
I was like, I know who you
Misha Green.
mean, and because you the boss, I'm gonna let you say it that way.
Misha Green. She's giving me Misha Green. Misha Green. And
Misha Barton's a white woman.
Misha Green. She's giving me Misha Green. Because those, like, when the plans she had for Lovecraft Country season 2 and beyond are just that. Like, would just, it was these what if scenarios, that it's a multiverse. We're in the age of the multiverse anyway. So it was just that. And to get these type of stories where you're saying, not only are we on top,
we're thriving.
So now what happens within that? What's going on with that? And oh god, here she goes. Yep. Especially in a non-drawn time. Yes, that is chilling. That's chilling. I want to know that story of what if. Like, those tend to be the best type of stories, though. Like, what if this didn't happen? What if Malcolm wasn't framed? What if Martin wasn't shot or survived the shot? What if? What goes down after that?
Now you're making real hard stories for white folk.
Oh,
what if Nat Turner
Ooh. I was gonna go
made it
one
past
worse.
24 hours? I just want to know.
I was gonna go worse. What if the Harlem Hellfighters won the war on their own? Ooh.
What if somebody knew? What if somebody knew about the plans for Black Wall Street?
Yes.
What
the
is salt?
Tuskegee experiments?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so what if it was that same juice they put in Captain America?
We need to know. Those are stories we need to know. You know?
Oh shit!
My heart knows what it is. Like, what if we got these type of stories where it just shows up? You know, I think of the skit that Key and Peele made where it was a zombie apocalypse. Yet the zombies weren't. They were racist zombies, you know. And it was just like, yo, wait a minute, and then they find out
locking the car door when they pass. Yeah. Never forgot that moment.
You know, and then they come around and like, we having a whole backyard barbecue. Come on, they ain't messing with us,
They
you know.
Zombies ain't the best. Zombies don't care about us.
No, they're calling the cops when it gets too loud.
Telling it, Geek. You telling it, Geek Bahar.
The Tulsa happened to. Ooh.
Then they would know. You know, those are the type of questions. Those are the type of scenarios that, you know, it does make you question a lot of stuff, and it does get the conversation going, and it does make for great content on so many levels. Because see, now you're saying, well, things could have went differently. Well, how and why, and what will be the result? There it is. You know, and I think that not only does that give you a different scenario, that opens up the floor to say, for the other side or whomever it was, they say, you know what, I never looked at it that way. Now you're putting that fear in my lap, and now I have to confront that fear. Now I'm starting to see, you may not be able to experience that, but now you're starting to at least see what it is we've been talking about. Like, the fear that we speak about is not a flagrant fear. It's not false. Like, it's there. Like that whole analogy of when you see a black person run, we don't ask questions. We move.
The African American emergency exit system. When you see us run, when you see one run,
there's no questions. They did that on the show. They did that on the show Harlem. They did that on the show Harlem. Sister was on 2% of her phone. She had 2%. She just started running. Every black person that she ran by, they just seen her sister running. She's just going to charge the phone. They didn't ask questions. They took off. They just
took off. Having a conversation with a group about the difficulties in putting, because, you know, when they say fiction has to make sense, real life can be completely insane, but fiction has to make sense. So when you're sending things out to editors, if your editors aren't editors of color, there's things that won't ring true for them that ring true for you. So I was explaining about, you know, how you have your D&D, your tavern scene where everybody's kind of seeing something happens or whatever. If you have two characters, right? When somebody walks in and two characters look at each other, what that says to a black person is completely different than what it says to anybody else, because there was a long time when we had to get very precise, very urgent information to each other without knowing each other, without really speaking the same language, without speaking out loud or nobody else noticing. We got real good at that, so we can have whole conversations.
We got so good at that.
Conversation.
Yes, we got so good at it that in an episode of House of the Dragon, when Ned Valerian seen all those Targaryens getting drunk, and the first thing he said was, "I'm not sitting down having a drink with y'all. Y'all crazy."
And that's
But how do you explain that to people who don't have that instinct? So now they're like, well, how these are two strangers. How do they know to get up and move at the same time? That doesn't make sense. You need to give us some backstory. No, I don't.
No.
They knew. Trust me, they knew.
But the funny part is, as you explain it, how many times have we seen that in movies? Like, thinking about your movies in the 90s where my personal favorite, Devil in a Blue Dress, where you had Denzel Washington's character and his co-star right beside him. White dude walks in the bar, a bar full of black folks. Every black person
Gone. What you know him? Who called him in here?
Was that your
that to me
not a word spoken, but that's
wasn't spoken. But they all except for Denzel's character, all of them got up, all of them walked out.
Yep.
And the white guy was like, "Geez, all I wanted was a drink and a talk with you," and he's like, "You don't get it." And the longest time, it's like we as Black people was like, "Oh, they understood." You don't know the cracker that just came in here. No, we all out.
This white man came into the blackest of blackest parts of town in the blackest bar in town.
Mm-hmm.
That boy.
No, you troubled my guy.
That boy here for trouble.
But like you said, Aaron, it's the fact that it's amazing that I know it's frustrating as a writer that you have to say this to others that aren't us, but it's been portrayed in cinema, in song, in television. It's almost like, how do you not get it by now if you're still questioning it? And that's where I think that's where you're getting to as far as the struggle as far as to get that message over their heads, I guess, in a way of saying that. Because for us, we get it. For others that aren't us or have never been in that situation as us, it's almost like there's this giant divide. Like, I don't get it. I need more details. No, you don't.
What's that sound? Nothing you need to know about. Let's go.
Right.
But you can't say that to an editor who you're trying to sell your story to. It has to make sense to them. So then you've got to walk this line between writing the real experience and writing something that group understands, because that group owns publishing right now.
That's true.
There was a conversation.
Will wants to say something.
Go ahead, Will.
No, I had a question. Like, did you ever have to like on the note of what we're talking about? Like, did you ever have to send out like an addendum with a short story? It's like, okay, so this is what a hot comb is.
Stop it.
This is what this means.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Not exactly. But I did have to explain why a character was a villain, because the character was taking some artifacts from some people.
Oh, wow.
But the villain was saying, it didn't say they were a villain, but they were taking some artifacts from some people that they didn't know, from a town they didn't know. But they were doing it to put in the library to help, whatever, and to educate people. And so I really had to sell, like, oh, okay, but that's just helping, right? That's just learning about other cultures. Like, yeah, but you're also robbing a church of this group that you don't know. So that's kind of bad for the people it's happening to, and we have to consider them too. I didn't sell it.
So in a way, it's almost like you are battling stereotypes. Like if you gave us, if you gave a stereotypical situation that they're used to, it'll be accepted faster than a unique situation that's not a stereotype.
Or you have to really play up the villain. Like you have to give them a mustache to twirl and like a white cat to stroke, or they won't recognize that this is a bad.
Shut up, Will.
Like I give you no, not that, not
because
that.
I have a mustache and.
I'm not saying
but you're not twirling it, so you're still good.
No,
not when I'm on the show. But when I'm thinking, that's a different story.
Like I'd leave that alone because there's a reason why he said that, and he's sticking with that on his own. But no, the reason why I bring that up is because to me, like the quintessential example of that, American Gods, when Orlando Jones wrote the Mr. Anansi. Any of his speeches, which I am surprised they got past people, because every one of his speeches he did was number one, very well done, very profound, and it struck a chord. That being said, that's why I ask you, like, to take that kind of challenge on to get something across. That's where, in his case, he almost had to be villainous, but really Anansi, as far as the actual deity himself, is not really villainous. But they had to make it come across that way just for him to get that far along. So that's the reason why I was asking you, like, as far as what you're dealing with, which again, you said that it has to be something that stands out about said character in order for them to accept it, which again, that's where the uphill battle comes into place.
Not to pun on the idea of black and white, but I think a lot of indigenous mythologies, a lot of African mythologies specifically, they don't have villain characters and good characters. They have characters with strong personalities who do a bad thing in this story and do a good thing in this one. Kind of the Loki idea. And so, Anansi was starting trouble all over the damn place, but he wasn't a bad person. He just did that bad thing in that bad time. And so we don't need him to be a villain, to both accept him into our community, but also keep an eye on him because we already know he's shifty as hell. Like, we can have that dichotomy and be cool with that. That's not a Western idea. Western idea
that's a typical cousin at the barbecue. Like, we love that cousin, but he come to the barbecue, keep him from upstairs because something might come up missing.
He likes to go to jail for some reason. I mean, he good when he comes home, but he certainly do like to go to jail.
You got to watch him.
not allowed to bring any of his friends over.
Right. Like, but he'll back you in a fight. However,
not give him his own plate and cup and no lemon in the house.
Yeah. No, don't get up. Oh, they serving me, and they're like, no, that's not what you think it is. That's not what it is.
Jasmine said fairy neutrality. Yes, absolutely. There's, and we don't need you to be the bad guy. We don't other our bad people. We don't say we can see them immediately or just put them in that slot. We're watching what they do.
Yeah, it's how we identified with Killmonger. That conversation still holds. Was he really a bad guy?
He just need to be heard. That's all.
That's
another what if story. That's another what if story. What if T'Challa actually acknowledged him in the he's like, ask me what my name is. All right, what's your name, fool? Go from there.
But I didn't know my father did that. I'm sorry. Do you want to come home? Like let's figure this out.
You here now? Let's talk some stuff out.
That movie was a conversation. There was not a one good guy, one bad guy, one happy ending. The end.
Yeah.
There was just unfortunate circumstances, and then things had to be done, and then we're going to try and move and build from there. Yeah, that's a black idea. That's how we tell our stories, because we have to do what we have to do sometimes, and so we don't.
But it did hit home the fact of just holding secrets in the family, though. That's always like that's what kind of resonated with me in that one. It's like you held a secret for that long, and your father held it. And it's like that was my secret shame. So now I gotta pay for it. You couldn't sit there and bring the boy home, so now I gotta deal with him.
Like, who else knew about this? It becomes those uncomfortable conversations that are generally had in the Black community. But a movie like that was why that conversation was brought up. He's not considered the bad guy. He may have had certain methods that we didn't agree with, but his purpose and his cause was very just. Like he when you found out the truth of things, you're just like, can you blame him?
No, he was a lost one.
If you start a fire, you can't blame what and who it burns. You started the problem, but now you're going to complain about where it spread to.
Yeah,
I was going to say, what's that African proverb? What, the child that's ignored by the village will burn down to feel its warmth.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Oh, he was
literally
right.
And then came back and told literally told Shuri, I told you so.
Like, was I wrong, little cousin?
Am I the only one though that thinks that the only thing that he did wrong that really, really made us mad was disrespect Angela?
That
was not cool. I was like, you know what? You need to sit down about that one.
Yeah.
that was unnecessary.
I need Wakanda Forever, Queen. I need Wakanda Forever, Angela Bassett to show up when he says something. Just or
that was the conversation that needed to be had in the first one. No, sit down.
But no,
I don't know who you are, but we're gonna find out and we're gonna talk this out.
That was the one thing I wish was different in the original Black Panther, was just like right then and there, just sort him out versus remove him from our sight. No, I'm like,
you're exiling him again. This is why he did this in the first place. You're exiling him again. You're separating from his purpose, his truth.
You're basically doing the same cycle all over again. It's like you don't know him, you're throwing him out to the world again. And in his eyes, it's no different than, you know, him experiencing that trauma all over again, then therefore validating what he is.
That's right. Auntie Jennifer would not have it. So what Geek by Heart, there was a but a couple episodes back where we had came up with there should be other elders from Wakanda. And the elders were, besides Angela Bassett, the other elders was Cheryl Lee Ralph and Jennifer.
Mother of
Jennifer Lewis.
Yes.
Oh, Auntie Jennifer.
Yes. And so those were the elders from the other border tribes, and it was just like we had a whole scenario where it was all three of them, and like let's just say Queen Ramonda was still alive and Shuri's kept coming into her own, and then she's not really sure, but then she ends up going into the afterlife after she takes the herb. And while she's trying to figure out who she is, you have the three elders walking around her, telling her about herself, saying this is who you should be, or you need to be comfortable, you need to be confident, you need to be this, and I'm like, you get hit from three sides like that.
That is soul destruction.
Or if you had Killmonger walk into the throne room and the three of them cleared the rest of the room out and said, no, we gonna talk. We gonna
undoing the belt. Yeah.
Undoing the belt.
That was
Laura was told to leave. The tribe was told to leave. Everyone was told to leave. You gonna sit down. You gonna listen to this.
Now you know who we missed. You know who we need to add to the auntie rotation.
Who's that?
Claire Huxtable.
Oh.
Remember when Alvin was talking about? I didn't know you served.
Oh, the silent assassin.
I don't care what you think you're doing here, sir. I know you need to take your behind right back home and come back in here with some sense. That is
that's Ramonda's sister.
Yeah. Claire Huxtable is the silent assassin.
He came on the screen and I started behaving at whatever I was doing when I was a kid. I was like, I don't want her to yell at me.
Yeah, big fun in Baltimore. Big fun in Baltimore still rings true. I'm sorry.
Actually, you know what? Hang on, Chris. Hang on for everybody. Who got it worse? Because there was a time she got on Denise, and there was a time she got on
Theo.
Yeah. So who was the one that caught it worse?
Oh no, Denise lost her goddamn mind. Denise lost not Denise.
Because I forgot
Vanessa.
Vanessa,
yeah. Now Vanessa, she just got insulted, but Denise, though, I mean, I'm grown. I have my money. I can do what I want. Here's Claire. Oh, you sweet summer child. Let me tell you what you can do with them. Claire, I'm sorry. Claire, if Claire was a part of the Living Tribunal, that woman could literally have you bleeding in 6 different places, smile at you, and then you're sitting there asking for more.
You would never forget to take the chicken out of the freezer before she got it. Ever in your life. Ever. You would have the
that right
seasons
there
lined up. You would have the pan preheated.
Oh dear God! If Claire did talk to Killmonger, look at you. You just decided you wanted to be King Wakanda. You wanted to be king of all Wakanda. You decided that you wanted to come and just take over.
She's the elder of the elders. She walks in. She's walking in as the three are talking, and she's walking. You just see her from the feet up, and they pan up, and you're like, "Oh, damn!"
Right? Just a
big fun. You wanted to have big fun in Wakanda, didn't you?
That'd be the one time you see M'Baku just back up, like, nope, nope.
You know what? I think someone's calling me over in the mountains. Let me go check.
Right. I'm sorry.
Go check that real quick.
I will leave.
I'm still saying that'd be the one time M'Baku will be
calling me home.
That'd be the one time M'Baku and Okoye be like, look, we can go get food while this is going down.
They're gonna be a while. Oh my God. So before we get out of here, Aaron, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at ebrownwrites.com. And that's just got a list of all of the links. Some of the stuff is free. You can just click on it and just read it right away. Some of the things you have to buy, like for Fire Magazine, which is my Brief and Hideous Scrawl, and that's a Black-owned magazine. I know you guys know about Fire, so definitely invest and support them.
Support.
And I'm working on another site that's just nothing but helping people come up with prompts.
Cool.
That's based in the house that I came up with in Black Fayday, the House Witchwalker, which is just all about content creation. So that's going to be done by the end of the month. But yeah, those are the two places.
Nice.
Aaron Brown is a legendary Fabi in every form of the word. She would be what Sam was to Jon Snow, just watching over. Knows everything. She knows it. So do you know why this is happening? You know,
the man that kept the Night's Watch together.
Yes. House Witchwalker. Yes.
House Witchwalker. That's us. That's us. Fun lore, Black RPG style prompt creation. So
don't do it so fast. The keeper of the tomes. Yes. Yes, she's the keeper of the tomes. That's the name of the episode now. Keeper of the tomes. I like it. Oh my God. So first off, I have to give you this because just the content. This is how you know she's an author. She uses the word rich. And she's describing her wordplay. And I'm like, that's a writer. That's a writer. She used the word rich. You know when I use the word rich, when I'm talking about cake, that sometimes
I won't pancakes.
It's the only time I use the word rich. Just saying.
It's decadent.
It's decadent. She says decadent. I'm like, this is rich. She's like, it's decadent. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Satisfying.
Oh, but Aaron Brown, thank you. Give me that. Thank you. Hey, calm down. All right. Trying to talk. Yes, rich in wisdom, heart, passion, all of that, because I sense it as you speak, you know, and it's coming off the lips of our Queen Jasmine of may she reign. May she reign. May the Queen reign.
1,000 years.
1,000 years. This is the Queen we recognize as Queen Jasmine. This is the Queen we recognize. Because there's certain queens. There's Angela, Cheryl, Jennifer, Claire, Jasmine.
It's a good list to be on.
It's a good look. Damn good list to be on. You cannot, if you're on one of the bad lists, you're on all of them. So you just stay on that list.
That's the t-shirt right there.
That's the t-shirt, right? That's the t-shirt.
Oh, that is a t-shirt.
It is. Ooh. That's a t-shirt.
I see marketing.
Yes, it was definitely great talking to you. Finally getting to talk to you in person esque. Because we talk online all the time when we're like in the same groups. So it was great having you on. I love what I've read from the skyscraper story. That was I need live action stuff. I need this.
All right.
I need it all. I need it all. And I don't need to be robbed of it, HBO Max. I don't need to be robbed. Lady Mandalore knows what I'm talking about. I do not need to be robbed.
Yeah.
But thank you, Aaron, for coming on, man. The door is always open whenever you got a new project or you just want to come in and chat it up with us. Let me know. Just drop me a line. So thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Lady Mandalore, tell them where they can find you.
Well, when I'm not in my palatial estate, as you can see behind me here.
Why I try to figure out where I can get one of those goblets and stuff.
in the summer estate while you're at
My chalet, if you will.
The chalet. You got all the big words tonight. What is going on?
I like them. They make my hair grow.
That's
I do like them. 13-letter words are my best friends. Ooh, where can you? Okay, cool. Right. So I am actually having a giveaway this coming Saturday in my room full of blurs, if you will. This Saturday at 9 p.m., I will be giving away an Ozzy the Virus poster. They are lovely. I can't show it right now because I have this green screen up. But if you go to my
It's
Instagram,
a good poster.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's a great poster.
Yeah. Free poster. You can go to my Instagram, which is also Room Full of Blurs, and I have my post up about that. But in the meantime, you can find me on Fanbase at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Saturday, we kiki and talk about pop culture stuff, and we have
We do kiki. We do kiki.
Mhm.
There's a lot of kikiing going on in there.
Me and the girls of the room, we kiki while the guys, bring us back together a little bit, and then we go off on another tangent. But you can also find me on Twitter as Room Full of Blurs without the 2 O's. This is very convoluted. I got to figure all this stuff out. I apologize in advance. This is a little bit more detailed than I usually go into, but whatever. Yeah, that's I have my Child of Mandalore podcast also. You can find on Spotify. It details the history of Mandalore through Star Wars canon, not legend, to be specific.
There you go.
It's good. It's a fun time.
It's always a fun
It's
time.
always a fun time.
So we got the cinematic assassin in the building.
Yes, it is.
He's got his cap today because last week he felt
He felt kind of lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just feel like the top of my head is not meant for human consumption.
Pause.
Wait, that is a pause.
Will.
Batteries out.
Shout out to Ross Ash for that one because I know he's probably still watching. He's like, yo, my God, I know. Pause. I know.
Pause.
It's a Philly thing. I know. I got it.
Pause, son.
Y'all are immature, and Jesus continue.
The Lord knows.
I know. I know Jesus is watching.
I'm going to hell. It's warmer
He's
down
watching.
there.
He's always watching.
Daddy Kang.
He was king. I'm sorry.
Jesus was beating Ant-Man like he was Judas.
That's a good one.
Peter and Paul.
I tell you to keep my name out your mouth.
My Lord.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, baby Jesus. I'm gonna do 7 Hail Marys.
Baby Jesus in the powder blue suit, baby Jesus.
hand
We'll
basket.
be watching.
Hand basket.
I continue my social hiatus, but when I'm back, you can find me at Mayhem Media. That's MAYEHEM Media. Movie reviews, TV reviews, lots of jokes and laughter. That's what you can find when you follow me. Don't matter what site you're on. And as I always continue to stress, mental health matters. So take that PTO. And if no one has told you today, I know you're doing your best. So keep going and spread a little love along the way.
There you go.
Prepare
Black
the others.
Spartan.
That PTO. Prepare the others.
Prepare the others. That's exactly what that means. Prepare the others.
I don't care but we need you. Prepare the others. But yes, I am Will, also known as Black Spartan. How do I start this? Because I'm usually laughing, or Kira or Will has messed me up, so this is different.
I took it out of rotation a little bit. Just a little bit. Lord Strife.
We got to keep you on edge, man. You got to keep you on edge. You all right?
Usually y'all trip me up or say something that has me laughing, but that's cool. But anyway, Black Box 447 is where you can find me on all socials. I usually post everything that I watch, that I play, that I read, gym stuff, because I'm still trying to get in somewhat of a shape. Aside from that, I do have a couple of podcasts of my own. I do have my political podcast called How the Frack We Got Here every Wednesday, every Saturday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I also have a video game podcast with my co-host Joe Canello called Give It Podcast, also every Friday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I am also one of the writers for the Blurred's Eye View website for wrestling. Why? Because wrestling is real and people are fake. As we just came off of Elimination Chamber and a little bit of a heartbreak because the person we wanted to win didn't win, but you know, it happens. Aside from that, crap, what else do I got?
A baby.
The baby ain't coming. See, look, no, you know what? That's an off-service topic because the baby don't want to stay in, even though he's supposed to be due here in May, but he might be an April baby. But
yeah, that's an Aries for you.
Yeah, he's active. But anyway, aside from that, like I said before, the only rule I have, like I said, I'm a very social person. If you reach out to me on social media, I usually will talk with you, have debates. The only rule I have is don't be a dick. Aside from that, the last thing I'll say is, look, there is simply no competition out there. We are all running different lanes. We are all going to run to our goals at different times. That being said, the only person stopping you is you, but I will always root for you. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will always support you. Why? Because we all need a leg up, not a hand down, and especially not a middle finger. So aside from that, don't be a dick.
Yes, that all day. We got Queen Jasmine and Lord Strife in the building. Team Tours, baby.
My sign off was weak compared to all that. I was like, "Here's my website, thanks." I feel like I should have something deep to say or something.
Oh my God! So thank you everybody for tuning in. It's your man on the wall, Chris Fury. If you are watching the show or if it's your first time watching the show, you know the drill. Go to IG, you'll find us there, Blurred's Eye View, and find there in the bio the link to our link tree. Also, you can find us on the Facebook page, Blurred's Eye View Podcast, all capitals. You can also listen to us on opulenceradio.com. Just download the app, completely free. And you can listen to old episodes all day long. Or you can always check us out on Twitch, Blurred's Eye View 1. Or better yet, if you want to watch the insanity, go to the YouTube page, Blurred's Eye View, and see all the craziness that we are showing, like Black Jesus. You know what I mean? Black Jesus. Black Jesus. I want to thank our guest, Aaron Brown. Awesome. Go check her stuff out. E. Brown Writes. Go to the website. Get this stuff. I'm not paying these other folks in the stadium here to clap or anything like that. Because they ain't got that kind of time like that. Or money. Speaking of which, shout out to our new affiliate, Taco Noir. If you don't have your blind box right now, get it ordered. The deadline is on the 27th. But guess what? We are an affiliate of a Taco Noir. So if you go to taconoir.com, you get a discount code, Blurred's Eye View. As you check out, you get a discount on whatever your purchase is. Shout out to them, the Blurred Blind Box. Lizette Lewis is on our February manner. First one out the gate was Navy Montel in January. I didn't even see who was looking up for March. So I know Queen Jasmine's in that calendar as well. So go check us out. Yes, that's right. Get a blind box. Get your blind box. You will not disappoint it. You will not be disappointed. I wasn't, because they have some awesome stuff. They really do. So check out Taco Noir. Blurred's Eye View is going to be the code. Thank you to the guest, Aaron Brown. Thank you to the team, Black Spartan, Cinematic Assassin, and Lady Mandalore. As we do with every sign-off, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, remember to educate yourself and others, entertain yourself and others, and most of all, encourage yourself and others. Tune in every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, and every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And until then, I'm your man, Chris Fury, with the team. We are out of here.
Bye.